condition.
Clear to fire on condition. Charlie 1. Stand by.
Bandit, clear to fire.
Fox 2 on the way.
The Pacific Ranges of the Naval Air Systems Command were created in the mid-1940s to provide the space necessary to safely conduct testing of modern military weapon systems. Testing is required to maintain military readiness. Before a weapon can be certified for use in combat, it must undergo extensive testing in a variety of operational environments. The purpose of this testing? To collect detailed performance data on a wide range of weapon systems, including ship-launched missiles, air-launched missiles, surface-launched missiles, free-fall ordnance, like bombs, glide weapons, and electronic warfare systems from unseen threats. Individual components are tested separately as well, like propulsion systems, warheads, fuses, and inert airframes. In fact, the majority of testing is accomplished using weapons without warheads. For example, in the Sidewinder AIM-9X developmental test series, 18 of 19 tests were conducted without warheads.
Fox 2.
Substitution of a transmitter in place of the warhead allowed test engineers to see through the eye of the missile. Testing modern military systems is a dangerous activity, and a tremendous amount of land, air, and sea space is required in order to conduct these tests safely and securely. The NavAir Pacific Ranges include more than 1,700 square miles of land range at China Lake, blanketed by some 20,000 square miles of restricted military airspace. And at Point Mugu, a sea range that encompasses over 36,000 square miles of ocean. It's important to note that this testing impacts a very small area within these boundaries. In fact, more than 95% of the land, sea, and airspace exists to provide a buffer for safety and security. These ranges are not only vast, but instrumented as well. In order to collect precise performance data, extensive instrumentation is used and maintained by a cadre of experienced and well-trained personnel. Since most of this range instrumentation is located in remote areas, they utilize a wide spectrum of radio frequencies that are reserved for military use. Let's examine what is involved in testing a weapon. Welcome to the China Lake Range Control Center, or RCC, where experienced personnel perform tasks including range safety, air surveillance, operational control, data processing and display, and impact area instrumentation. In this test on the land range, an FA-18 aircraft, the launch platform, is releasing a joint standoff weapon, JSOW, against a simulated military target. In order to safely control the test, it is essential to know the precise three-dimensional location of the participants at all times. This is called TSPI, for Time, Space, Position Information. Reliable and highly accurate TSPI is obtained from a variety of sources, including global positioning system receivers, radars, and optical tracking mounts. In addition to knowing where the participants are, we must also know what they are doing. This is accomplished via telemetry. Sensors on board both the aircraft and the weapon monitor and transmit internal functions through telemetry. This process involves digitizing and encoding the information, then transmitting it from antennas on the aircraft and the missile to telemetry receiving ground stations, where it is received, decoded, and sent to the Range Control Center, where it is recorded. A single test may require monitoring several thousand individual parameters, ranging from aircraft speed and roll angle to the proper sequencing of weapon functions. Throughout the test, performance data is recorded for post-test analysis. High-speed cameras set up around the target area provide detailed information on warhead performance, and post-test examination of the targets yields additional information on weapon effectiveness. Testing follows a similar pattern on the sea range. In this test, for example, an advanced medium-range air-to-air missile, or AMRAAM, is being tested against an unmanned aerial target. Prior to the test, surveillance radars on San Nicolas Island and Point Mugu and P-3 aircraft from Point Mugu have made sure that the test area is clear of commercial vessels and that no aircraft have strayed into the controlled airspace. Throughout the test, the shooter aircraft is in communication with ground stations on San Nicolas Island, and from there via undersea fiber optic cable to the Range Operations Control Center at Point Mugu. The target is a QF-4 drone, also remotely controlled from range operations at Point Mugu. During the test, TSPI and telemetry from the launch platform, missile, and target are all relayed through San Nicolas Island to Point Mugu. Recording every aspect of the launch, flight, and intercept. Navy surface combatants also engage targets on the sea range, some that simulate sea-skimming anti-ship missiles. Despite the size of the land and sea ranges, there are occasions when neither alone can accommodate a specific test. This is the case when testing a submarine-launched Tomahawk cruise missile against a remote land target. For such an exercise, the two ranges operate as a single unit, connected by an FAA-approved flight route. TSPI, telemetry, and control are continuous. To ensure the safety of the areas overflown, the Tomahawk's warhead is removed and the missile is shadowed by chase planes, which can take control of the missile if necessary. After several hundred miles of flight, the test terminates on the land range. The NAVAIR Pacific ranges contain a great variety of natural resources, as well as many irreplaceable cultural resources. The ranges take environmental stewardship very seriously. Procedures are in place to minimize impact as much as possible. Environmental laws are obeyed and our managers work closely with local, state, and federal regulators. Comprehensive developmental testing ensures that the military has the finest weapon systems and can depend on them to perform as designed. The Pacific Ranges are also used for training. Training exercises on the sea range may involve entire carrier battle groups, fighter and attack squadrons, small special operations activities, other DoD services, and allied forces. For air and surface training, the land range offers realistic environments ranging from hot desert playas to snow-capped pinyon-covered mountains, and the Superior Valley Range, where fleet pilots improve their bombing and strafing accuracy. In training, as in testing, the huge land, sea, and air spaces provide the necessary safety and security buffers. For more than 50 years, the land and sea ranges have carried out essential test and training missions. At the same time, the Navy has maintained the highest levels of stewardship for the rich resources entrusted to it. As the nation and the Navy meet the new challenges of the 21st century, NAVAIR's Pacific Ranges will continue to maintain the space and infrastructure necessary to collect test data safely under controlled circumstances, to maintain the readiness of the world's finest warfighters.